So let's kind of, as we're wrapping up, I wanted to share a few key takeaways that are really important for everybody to remember. So first and foremost, it's very important to understand that you don't win with a negative mindset or a negative attitude or a despondent attitude, right? It is really a winning mindset leads to winning behavior. And what I mean by that is, remember my story, when as soon as I told myself somebody's got to win and why not me, it focused me. I got down to business. I started thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to win this stuff, right? Like to win this competition. So that's what I mean when I say you got to start with a winning mindset. So then what happens? What's the opposite of a winning behavior, right? It's stuck behavior. And when you're stuck, it's always, always for two things. I know people always say, don't say always, don't make it so definitive, but it is in this case. The first one is you don't want the goal. And, when I was in transition from my corporate job and I was applying to the whole bunch of other jobs, I was just applying to them because I thought I would, I was desperate. I was like, I need a job. I'm going to take anything. But in truth, it's not what I wanted. So if you're coming to a place where you're like, I don't really want this job, then guess what? That attitude is going to come into play. And so there are two reasons that keep us stuck. We're doing something that we don't really want to do. And the more important one that most of us feel is we are doing something, but we don't believe that we can accomplish it, right? That's what I would like you to really pay attention when you're applying or when you're taking any kind of action steps. What's the belief with which you're taking those action steps? So here's one thing that's also true. This is what I said earlier. You cannot pretend to believe something that's not true. Okay, so if there's a part of you that's feeling anxious, that's feeling disappointed, frustrated, you got to acknowledge where you are. You cannot pretend. You cannot lie to yourself, basically, right? Yourself knows how you feel. So that's really important to just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through your own process. And the reason why this is even more important is, let's just say, you tell yourself, oh, use my story. I told myself, I'm the best at competitions. I'm going to win this thing. And then I don't believe it. And then I lose. Well, what happens is now I told myself, oh, well, if I tell myself I'm good at it, I should win. What this is doing is it proves that my limiting belief is really accurate. Oh, this proves that I'm really not good, or I really don't have the experience. I really have either too much experience, not enough experience. Everybody has their own belief systems, right? And it just goes to reinforce that belief system. So it's very important that when you say something, it has to feel congruent. Like I will tell myself, okay, I'm open to this opportunity if it's the right one for me, right? That's a good way to start thinking about this process. I'm open to every opportunity that's the right one for me. And that helps to kind of take away some of the pressure of, okay, did I hear back? Did I not hear back? Maybe it wasn't the right one for me. Not yet, anyway. Any questions so far? Was this kind of helpful? Okay, so then what comes next, right? As we were going through this, you probably uncovered some of those emotions that we were talking about. And as I mentioned, if you're taking action with these emotions, then what tends to happen is the results tend to be disappointing. And you know this, guys. All of you have done things, very enthusiastic, excited, and it's worked out for you, right? Everybody's had those experiences. And we've also had experiences where the opposite is the case, where we're dragging our feet. We really don't feel excited about it because of one reason or the other. And so guess what? The results reflect that. So the next steps on how I work with people that's really important for you to understand for yourself is that old stories are impacting your behavior, right? Why you feel helpless and hopeless, believe it or not, has nothing to do with this job search. This job search reminds you of things, subconsciously reminds you of other experiences where you felt the same, you had the same emotions, you had the same experience. So once you release all those emotions around those old stories, then with the job searches don't become so fraught. The other thing that's important is Got to start eliminating your yeah, but excuses and lead from confidence. I had a client who he came to me because, he was a consultant and his contracts were between $10,000 and $20,000. And he wanted to get to 50,000. But in truth, what he really wanted was 150,000 per contract. And in his head, we had a whole bunch of, yeah, I wanted, but I live in Arizona, but this happened, but I don't have this, right? There were all these yeah, buts. And believe it or not, he got $140,000 contract without doing anything different other than changing his mindset. And then the next one is, this is a hard one. Learn to be a creator of your own reality. So once you're out of your old stories, they're not dominating you. They're not influencing you to quite that same degree. What you're going to realize is, truthfully, each one of us are creators of our own reality. But it takes a process to get you there because we're so used to creating out of default. And when I say default, it usually means out of fear and doubt and insecurity, all those lovely emotions that we learned when we were really young, and now we've carried on into our adult lives.